Okay, good morning, everybody. We're going to get started. Happy New Year. It's our first community update of 2017. Nice to see a big crowd. Just a couple administrative remarks before we get started. I'm Alicia Grady, Chief of Armed Forces Community Service, and we're happy to be the host of this lovely community update every month. We have some information tables in the back, so when you have a chance after the meeting, stop by and see what's going on back there. We have a pretty tight agenda today, so we want to move quickly. On your tables, you will see a feedback form. Please complete these forms. This gives Colonel Morgan insight from all of you on what you'd like to see at the community update. So just fill this form out, leave it on your table. We will collect them after the update. Also, the roster is going around. Please make sure you update the roster. And then just a reminder, if you have questions, we have two folks on either side of the room that have mics. So please wait for the microphone because we do record this so we can post it on Facebook and on the MWR webpage. If you don't have the mic, then we don't capture the question for the live feed. So, okay, we're ready to go. Sir?
Good morning, everyone. Just so everybody knows, I sent out to the senior spouses an email right at the end of the holidays, right before New Year's. General James, welcome back. And real quick on that, we're trying to get a little bit more feedback from the spouses, senior spouses, and commanders as well. And to be honest, I didn't get much feedback. I got 2 emails out of a lot of people. But I did go around and start talking to a lot of people, and so I'm trying to bring a little bit more balance into the community update on what you need to hear. Can you go to the next slide? Like what we talk about right here. But it's absolutely critical for us to understand also the health and the well-being of our families and our service members and what's affecting them on a daily basis and is hurting the readiness of the commander's units with regards to their well-being and their ability to deploy. And so we're going to continue to focus on a lot of things having to do at the beginning of the meeting that have to do with some of the priorities that are affecting the health of the force, the health of JBLM, which is through the Community Health Promotion Council. So we can highlight to you the programs, services, and capabilities that are available to you and the families, not just the service member, not just the airman, not just the soldier, not just the Marine, not just the sailor. Okay, so it's also for the families. And so we want to make sure we highlight those because we need the FRGs and the senior spouses to integrate that into their FRG meetings so we can continue to get the command messaging out with regards to the ready and resilient priorities that we have. And so today we'll talk about some of those, and then Mike Place, and I would ask, I saw Larry's over there, to stand up and add up anything onto the performance triad, which, to be honest, simply is about sleeping, eating, and working out. It sounds simple, but the only constant in the United States military is that generations change. And so as leaders, we have to figure out how to address that every time this affects our readiness. These are our priorities that we have approved with General Lanza and Colonel Kaczynski as well. And we wanted to make them more positive and actionable. Before, the priorities were like suicide prevention and domestic violence and all this negative, and it is negative, don't get me wrong, but we wanted to put a positive approach to it that's actionable. So we're talking about improving financial fitness, increasing healthy behaviors, optimizing physical fitness, fostering healthy relationships, and strengthening individual life skills and resiliency. These are the health and well-being priorities for JBLM. Whether you are a soldier, airman, Marine, or sailor, or a family member, or a civilian workforce Army professional or Air Force professional civilian. These are our priorities, and our funding and our programs are built to support this. And this is based off of data trends and everything else that we do between the command that I got, the FORCECOM commanders that feed that, and obviously MedCom as well. So other than that, this is where we are, and I want to reemphasize, please take time. If you need to hear something, a specific topic, please fill out that form there so I can actually take it and get it with Alicia Grady and the team and figure out how we can synchronize between Mike Place and myself and what you all need to hear. So, okay, slide. Okay.
So we're going to be focusing on, for this one, strengthening individual life skills and improving financial fitness. So we have two presentations that we're going to give this morning. The first is Karen Fox, who is the Family Advocacy Program Manager.
All right, I'm not taking off my coat. I tried, it's cold, so I'm keeping it on. My name is Karen Fox. I am the Acting Program Manager for Family Advocacy, and I want to talk to you about our prevention program. So at the end of every fiscal year, we get together as a staff and we assess our prevention efforts. And then we look for the way ahead in terms of what classes that we want to offer in the next fiscal year. And so when we're looking at our classes, we're looking at our high-performing classes. We're obviously going to keep those. Those tend to be our divorce parenting classes, our anger management classes, both the men's and women's classes. And then we look at the classes that aren't our high performers, and we set those aside. And then we're always looking to incorporate new classes. And when we incorporate new classes, what we're looking at is we're looking at evidence-based classes, classes that are focused on healthy relationships, and then something that's going to merge in with JBLM and the trends that we see in community. Next slide. So upon doing that, we're going to introduce some new parenting classes. We do have some steady performers that we keep, but we saw these new classes and we were offered the ability to participate in them. And so the first one is GROW. GROW is from Penn State, and we're currently in a study with Penn State right now here at JBLM with 3 of our instructors. They're certified to teach this. The age group is 5 to 8. And they're focusing on expectations for parents in this age group. So at the end of this month, when the study is over, the research study is over, then we own that curriculum and we're offering it through our check appointments and on our calendar. Another class that we're going to be offering is Family Foundations. Family Foundations also comes from Penn State. So this past summer, a few of our instructors went over to the Navy in Bremerton, and they were certified to teach Family Foundations, and it's for new parents and expecting parents. So when they became certified, they came back here and they implemented that in our pregnant PT program. And then now with this fiscal year coming up, we also have it on check appointments, and we're offering it in 2 different sessions for JBLM community. So 2 other classes that we're going to be offering focus on relationships. And so they're Relationship Reboot and Dating Basics, and those come from our prep curriculum. Relationship Reboot is just basically looking at individuals. They'll be coming into the classes as couples, and then how to effectively get back on track with their relationships. We're looking at effective communication, and it's kind of humorous, the videos that are incorporated in there, and there's a lot of interactive activities. And then Dating Basics. That came from, we go out and we do annual trainings, and at each of our annual trainings, we hand out evaluations. And the single soldiers that go through our trainings, they've been asking for these types of classes, and PrEP actually offers those. So we put together a curriculum for single service members, and what we're going to be working with them on is expectations in a relationship, healthy communication. We're going to be talking about social media in dating, and how to break up. Because what we've learned with working with a lot of our service members in our anger management class is that they have difficulty extricating themselves from unhealthy relationships. And then we are also over at the TBI clinic, and we've put together a 5-session curriculum on healthy relationships. It was for a trial that they were doing at the TBI clinic, which was in November. And at the end of that trial, we were asked to come back, and so we're going to be implementing that in January with them. And so all of our classes, we call them pack and plays. So even though we offer them through check appointments in our classrooms, we can go out to the units and teach these classes as well. And then sort of on the horizon, we have another study that we've been invited to participate in. And then we're going to be trained in Green Dot program as well. Any questions? No questions.
Hi, I'm Arnie Norm, Financial Readiness Program Manager and Family Services Program Manager for AFCS. And we're going to talk today a little bit about finances and especially improving financial fitness, as we talked about as one of the goals. This is a good time of the year to start talking about this because everybody's already spent a lot of money over the holidays, and we haven't quite yet got to that wonderful tax refund that everyone's hoping for to pay for those things. And so we're facing a lot of financial problems usually around this time of the year. And I want to draw some attention to the services we offer as well as some of the upcoming events that are coming up for financial. We teach a lot of classes throughout the year, giving opportunities for individuals to come in from everything from budgeting to buying a home to dealing with credit, as well as our certified counselors can sit down with anyone one-on-one. So I think a lot of times we think about classes, but it may be best to get a soldier in front of somebody where they can really sit down and look at their whole situation. So we do have flyers. For financial readiness, we have our own check appointments website. So that's JBLM FRP for Financial Readiness Program, checkappointments.com, where you can see all the classes or actually make that one-on-one appointment to sit down with the counselor as well. AR campaign is coming up. Our kickoff will be the 24th of February. The op board, it is 040 TAC 17, where you get a project officer, an assistant project officer, where we do that opportunity. We're trying to get 100% contact about AR. It is not about trying to get everyone to give money, but it is about getting the contact and the awareness about AR out there. Now, we helped, and actually I got the most updated number. In 2016, 2.535, so a little over $2.5 million just here at JBLM given out through AER. And as you can see, the total actually is about 1780 now that we saw in 2018. So there's a lot of people we help in this situation. And so it's important that we continue to spread the word and utilize that service when we have soldiers in need. Next slide, please. Coming up at the end of February, moving into March, is the Military Saves campaign. This is a social awareness campaign that happens every year to encourage people to save money, everything from retirement savings to their short-term savings time. Obviously, if I have my emergency savings account funded and there, I'm going to need less help at AER or less help when those emergencies do strike. And so that's an important thing to think about. We are lucky we're going to have a speaker both at JBLM on the 27th, Monday the 27th, that kicks off our campaign. Sergeant retired Johnny Yellick. He is a wounded warrior who has a great story, not only about how he's overcome his injuries, but also how he handled his finances as a service member and afterwards, and how those things were influenced by the people that he worked with in the military. So this is going to be a really great opportunity. He's going to be talking. Military Saves campaign is for the whole week of the 27th through, I believe it's the 1st of March. You can see we have a number of different classes. Again, you can register for those on Check Appointments. The last piece that I want to talk a little bit about is that a lot of times people ask me, how can I tell if my service members are struggling financially? What are those signs? You know, especially since there's been some changes over time with AER where people can access, called the direct access to AER. A lot of times people ask me, how can an individual, how can me as a commander know what's going on when it comes to a financial crisis? So these are some of the things that you can see that I've put up here that help to identify those that may be struggling. Inability to make those payments like rent, basic food, those kind of things. If they're always in the negative and using that overdraft protection, that gets us in those situations. Their creditors calling, that's a good sign that there may be something going on. Repeat use of AERs, and obviously if individuals are coming into AER more than 2 times, the command will be involved in the AER process, so that is something to make sure you're aware of. Repeated use of advanced pays or advanced BAH. The lifestyle exceeding their pay, right? Those are those brand new Camaros parked in the barracks parking lot, right? That's the situation we're looking at. These are the things that we could draw attention to. There's something's going on. Those that we see, those brand new Camaros getting repoed out the gate. That's our second thing we see, right? So we got that kind of situation where we've got both going on. In this area, obviously, gambling can be an issue that we see out there. Misuse of that government travel card, especially with the PCS move now, it's more apt to be in that situation. Large debts owed to the government may be a warning sign. Zero pay, as well as if you have a soldier going through UCMJ and it's going to have a financial impact, it's an important thing to look at. In all these cases, we can be there to help you out or help that soldier out when there's things going on. A lot of times we need to think a little bit outside the box when we're saying what's a financial problem, who might be dealing with it, and these might give us some clues on who those people are. so that we can be out there trying to improve financial fitness. Is there any questions? Yes.
In light of getting the word out, could you speak to the AER scholarship?
Yes. So part of the money that comes through the AR campaign, or a lot of the money was already donated in the beginning that comes from the scholarship. They also have a scholarship program. The applications just came out on the website on the 1st of January. They should be available on the aerhq.org website. You have until May 1st to apply, and it's both for dependents as well as spouses for scholarships. So that's another program that AER does in addition to the emergency financial assistance that we have as well. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, up next is Colonel Place.
Hey, good morning, everyone. We have two things for you that cost you nothing other than your time that are good things. So without further ado, Captain Messenger, why don't you share the first one with us?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Captain Messenger. I am the director of the Armed Service Blood Bank Center here at Joint Base Lewis McChord. We are a tri-service organization, and our mission is to provide blood and blood product support not only to our local military treatment facilities, but also to support overseas operations. In order to do that, we have to collect between 125 and 150 units every single week. Now, a majority of our blood collection comes from units local to us, such as on Joint Base Lewis McChord, but we also are heavily reliant on our Navy population up north. Now, in order for us to make our mission, we are incredibly reliant on command support. Units who have donated with us in the past are located on the bottom. We are very thankful for your support. If you have not donated with us in the past, please contact our donor recruiter, who is located in the back of the room. He can provide you with information on how to get on the schedule. I do want to put a call out to Colonel Place and Command Sergeant Major Tyson for their support over the last couple weeks. We would not have been able to make our mission over the holidays while everyone else was on block leave if it wasn't for the support of Madigan. So thank you for your support. Command emphasis is how we make our mission and how we support our military beneficiaries. So if you have any questions, we'll be located in the back, and I'll pass this on to Colonel O'Brien.
Good morning, JBLM leaders. I'm Colonel John O'Brien. I'm the Chief of Primary Care at Madigan, and I'd like to talk to you today about how we're trying to improve health care at Madigan. Oops, is there an advancer? Okay. Where is it at? Okay, next slide. Okay. So here's a graphic depiction of what's happened in the U.S. over the last few years. I actually had a different slide with the picture of David from David and Goliath, but I was told I couldn't use that one here, so I had to use this one. But this one doesn't look much better. And so what this shows is the same thing I'm going to show you on the next slide. So next slide, what we have here is the obesity rate in the U.S. over the last 50 years or so. And what you have is, starting back in 1960, we had a 10.7% rate, which stayed about the same until the 1980s. In the 1980s till 2000, we more than doubled our obesity rate up to 27%. And it's gone up since then up to 36%, and it's projected by 2030 to go to 50% of the population. So what does that mean? The BMI of greater than 30 is the definition of obesity. And by 2030, if we don't do something different, we're looking at having 50% of Americans at an obesity rate. So that's a problem. That's a problem for recruiting soldiers into the Army, for keeping soldiers in, for our family members, and for many of us when we take off the uniform, there's about a 10-pound weight gain that first year after we get out. So it's a problem for everyone throughout the military. So next slide. Dr. Mark Hyman coined this term. It's called diabesity. And what that means is, after you develop obesity, about 5 to 10 years later, you start to develop signs of diabetes. And diabetes affects every single organ in our body and is a major problem in our country. Currently, 29 million Americans have diabetes. That's 1 out of 11 Americans. And that's a problem, but this is a bigger problem. 86 million Americans, 1 out of 3 adults, have pre-diabetes. In other words, their blood sugars are starting to go up already. They're not quite to the level of being diabetic, but they're going to be there in a few years if they don't do something different. 9 out of 10 of those people do not know that they have pre-diabetes. And the key is if you know about it, and even a 10, 15, 20-pound weight loss could prevent you from going on to develop diabetes. So we've got to do something different about our health care. Next slide. But diabetes is only one of many chronic preventable diseases. So I want to say that again. Chronic preventable diseases. Diseases that we could prevent if we did the right behaviors. So we talk about the performance triad. All that sounds really basic and easy and something your mom may have told you when you were a kid, but if we don't do them, we end up developing chronic preventable diseases. 160 million Americans have a chronic preventable disease. That's 1 out of every 2 of us has a chronic preventable disease that we could do something different. Examples are listed here. And there's a great study that came out in 2009. And in that study, they looked at 4 different behaviors that people could do. They're listed here. You could not smoke, exercise 3.5 hours a week or 30 minutes a day, have a healthy diet being 5 fruits and vegetables a day, and the things you see here, and just a BMI less than 30, or not being obese. If you did those 4 behaviors, compared to people that did all the wrong things there, you could reduce your risk of diabetes 93%. So essentially, you won't get diabetes if you do these things. You reduce your risk of a heart attack 50%, strokes, or 81%, 50% strokes, and 36% cancer. So by doing those healthy behaviors, you prevent the disease from occurring. Next slide. So at Madigan, over the last year and a half, we have trained about 400 people to do the model that you see before you, which is a holistic health model. If you can see at the top, the first 3 things are sleep, activity, nutrition. And so those things are just your performance triad. And then the bottom 5 elements are elements that are consistent with the Comprehensive Soldier and Family Fitness Program. And so this is essentially a holistic model. So if you walk into any of our clinics, you'll see this wheel here, and the staff have been trained on this model, and it's a different approach than just coming in and you telling me, oh, I've got this problem, and I give you a medicine and you walk out the door. This is looking at kind of holistically, how can we do stuff? And there's a lot of good reasons to do that. Next slide. I had the benefit of being here 4 years ago when we did the first Performance Triad pilot project. I was the Madigan lead for it. And so back at that time, just like many other people, I got my Fitbit, I got my cell phone apps, and I went to town. And I said, let me see if I can take the principles of the Performance Triad and make some improvements. Next slide. So actually, I'm very proud of these results. Like many people, again, this is New Year's kind of resolution time. For many years, I was so tired of, even though I would do very well on the PT test, I always have to go get taped afterwards. And I was like, I'm tired of getting taped. I want to get my weight down to 210 pounds. So back here, I was actually surprisingly, I didn't realize it when I looked at it, but my BMI was almost to the obese range, even though I was doing triathlons and I thought very healthy. But over 16 weeks, I was able to lose 2 pounds per week every week just by walking more and recording it with my Fitbit and recording my calories and ending up losing all that weight. And so I was very proud of what I was able to do, and it was because I thought at the time I was balancing my calories in versus calories out. And most people understand that that's often the way we tell people, hey, here's how you lose weight. You eat less and you exercise more. And so at that time, that's what I thought was the answer. Next slide. But since then, I've also learned that that's only part of the answer. And this is a book that, again, it's not too over-technical. I think it's reasonable for anybody to read. But it tells you that it's not just about the calories in, calories out, but it's about the quality of the calories that you're eating. So what I had to do to decrease my calories so I could lose that weight is I ended up cutting out the things that really cause people to hold on to weight, which is carbohydrates, pasta, pizza, bread, rice, liquid carbohydrates, beer and wine, that kind of stuff. So those are the things I ended up cutting out, and I actually did finally decide after all these years, let me really try to eat 8 fruits and vegetables a day. And by substituting fruits and vegetables for all those other carbs, that was really the thing I think that helped to do it. So I don't think it's just the calories in, calories out, but it's the carbs as well. Next slide. So just a couple other points real quick. If you want to do some things and not come to our pharmacy wait line, which we're trying to improve it, and I think we're doing a pretty good job, but if you want to do other things besides it, here's what you need to do. 2 handfuls of nuts per week decreases all reasons why people die by 27%. I don't have any other medicines that I can give you in my office that are better than that. So almonds, cashews, walnuts, a million different kind of nuts. So substitute nuts for your potato chips. Okay, next up. I love this too because I'm a triathlon person. So there's two different 70-year-old guys, right? This one down here is an MRI through the thighs. And what it shows is, that's all good-looking muscle and pretty good for a 70-year-old guy. That's not muscle. That's fat. That's all the fat. And that's basically by not exercising and not doing anything, that's what happens to your legs if you don't do anything. So exercise is medicine. So we said nuts are medicine, exercise is medicine. Next up, guess what? Sleep is medicine too. Everybody in the Army wants to say, I can't get enough sleep. I can survive on 5 hours a night. Well, guess what? If you get less than 5 hours of sleep versus getting 7 hours of sleep, here's all the increased risk of all these different diseases you have. So sleep is medicine as well, okay? So next slide. So I'm going to finish up saying that food is medicine, exercise is medicine, sleep is medicine. They don't cost as much as coming to see me. You don't have to wait in line for it, and that's what's really going to make you healthy. So, but if you do come into one of our clinics, if you see this on the wall, go ahead and ask one of the providers in there. We've also had a lot of the FORSCOM PAs and docs have come through as well. So you'll see this model on the wall, and there's a lot of great stuff that we can offer. It doesn't do any good to diagnose someone with something if we can't help out. We partner very strongly with the Wellness Center. We've got a lot of other assets on JBLM that can help out with any issues we find when we look at a holistic model. So with that, I'll pass it back to Colonel Place.
Thanks, John. So 2 things, free, good for you, good for the community, you can do. It takes nothing but time. A reminder, I've said this the last couple times we've gotten together, we have wellness appointments available for you. Would like you to try and take advantage of those. Again, new year, new you. Be healthy this year. A great way to do that is to get all of your particular women's health care visits. We have a number of those available for you. Next slide, please. Something coming up next couple of weeks I think many of you are aware of. We're going to have a symposium with the National VA as well as the State VA, a symposium coming up on the 18th of January to talk about veterans and both veterans' mental health and well-being as well as the resources available for them. I know some of you may not be able to go, but I think it's a topic that is of interest to you, and you should be aware that the discussion is going to be ongoing here for ways that we can take care of us as we transition to our next phase of life. Next slide, please. And before I turn it back to Alicia, I just want to point out, in the back, we also have Lieutenant Colonel Nee, if you'll stand up. He's with preventive medicine. So uncomfortable topic for some of us is to talk about sexually transmitted diseases. For those of you who don't know, we do have a sexually transmitted disease problem in this area, and some of our soldiers actually experience those problems. So if you happen to have a unit that may have some concerns or issues about that, he's here to answer your question. He does prevention as well as treatment. A good resource for you to talk to. And if you'd like to have some further discussions with your unit or with family members, he's able to do that. So he's here for you to talk with afterwards. And with that, are there any questions for Madigan or the other speakers that we've had? Please, anyone? Okay, seeing none. Alicia.
Okay, we're going to go into our installation updates. First is DPTMS.
Good morning and Happy New Year to everybody. I'm Kevin Witt, the Executive Officer for DPTMS. I'd like to start out by highlighting a couple things on our updated calendar. You notice we have a personal shred day here on the 6th of January at the Installation Destruction Facility. That's where you can bring your personal items to be shredded to prevent identity theft and those type of things. The other thing we have on the 2nd of February, the National Prayer Breakfast at the McCord Club at 7 o'clock. And I believe the chaplain will probably talk about that a little bit more. Other things to highlight up here on the last week of March and then in through the middle of April are the spring breaks for the local school districts. And then, of course, in the first week of April there, we have another personal shred day. So pending any questions, that's all I have. Where is the building for the personal shred? Can you kind of... Yeah, it's... Number, but what is that near? It's right across from here. It's right here in this area. So most everything else that's up here will probably be covered by one of the other directors or another agency. Thank you.
Joe?
Good morning, JBLM. I'm Joe Peak, JBLM Public Affairs. If you've been here for a while and been driving up and down I-5, you've seen construction out on the railroad track that borders JBLM and runs along I-5. That construction is to upgrade those rails for a series of high-speed trains that are going to begin going up and down those tracks in the very near future. We were just informed by WashDOT and Burlington Northern Railroad, and even though my slides say February, we just found out that actually later this month in January, they're going to begin testing the signals on those tracks, as well as running high-speed trains up and down the tracks as part of the test. What makes this important for everybody here to know is that currently, you only see trains go up and down those tracks every once in a while, and generally they're slow-moving trains. Once these tracks are tested and put into effect, and the high-speed trains begin going up and down those, we will begin experiencing a high-speed train every day, about every 45 minutes. And then when the arms go down, those arms will be down on those crossing gates for about 45 seconds when those trains pass by. So what's important for the commands to do is begin letting your soldiers and your airmen and your family members know that those tracks and those signals are going to begin operating in the very near future. As soon as we know when those trains will start running, we'll get that information into the Northwest Guardian and onto the JBLM Facebook page, as well as pushed out to the unit Facebook pages to let everybody know. Most important thing is encourage your soldiers and your airmen. If you're running late for a meeting, it's better to be late than try to make it around those train signals when that arm comes down. Don't do it. We don't need to have a high-speed train accident there. The trains will be traveling anywhere between 50 and 79 miles per hour. So they will not slow down just because they're passing JBLM to wave to us. So Joyce or Janet, I think was from WashDOT, was maybe going to be here. Is she here? I don't see it. Okay, does anybody have any questions on that? One in the very back. How frequently? Steve, I think it's beginning at 12 to 14 high-speed trains each day between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. every day, including weekends. I think it might be a little bit less on weekends, but once those start, we will see trains on those tracks very frequently. Any other questions? Okay, great, everybody. Thank you and Happy New Year. And here's Mark Brown.
Good morning, folks. I'd just like to highlight our Road to War or Road to Summit. On an annual cycle, we have about 5,000 folks separate from the base. So on the upper right, you'll see 27, 28 September at American Lake Convention Center will be about 250 organizations that will want to hire your folks, military and spouses and working age kids. So we'd like your help to help build towards that, because we've done this for 3 years now, and we've only been able to offer about 250 jobs on site because the client wasn't ready, whether they were military, a spouse, or a working age kid. So these activities that go down to the lower left are the build to that. So the goal is to place as many folks in jobs on site in September as we can. But in order to do that, you've got to be ready to do it. You've got to have your elevator pitch ready. And to be blunt, that's the hardest part. Most people have sweaty hands and they're nervous when they talk to someone out there when they're leaving the uniform or leaving the military. So we want to make your hands calm, not sweaty, and have your elevator pitch ready, because they're only going to give you 30 seconds to a minute or so to hook them whenever you're talking to one of the prospects that you would like to join in terms of organizations. Backing up from that, the next big one is on 27 June at Safeco Field in Seattle. That's a big hiring event, and there'll be free Mariners tickets for anyone who wants to go to the game that day. So please mark that on your calendar. And then during the summer time frame, we'll come down to your organization. If your unit would like to have on-site classes for your folks, including your spouses, we will come to you and run those classes, so just let us know. I don't want to steal Alicia Grady's thunder, but coming up here, the spouse hiring event, 15 to 16 February. That's about 250 folks showed up last year, I think. 293 showed up last year, so please help us get the word out. And then right behind that in March, 8 to 9 March, Redefining Your Future, is for female service members. For some reason, female service members are still much slower in utilizing these transition services than males. Even when you account for the fact that they're about 15% of the military population, they still, for some reason, don't take advantage of the opportunities. So this is a way we're trying to get after that, so please help us get the word out. Any questions? Happy New Year.
And housing?
Good morning. My name is Ron Hernandez. I'm from the Housing Division. I'm batting in for Don, who's enjoying his last few days in Germany before he comes back. So the first thing I want to talk about, go figure, winter's here. We all know that. We walked in a very cold climate today. So the two takeaways I'd really like to emphasize is, one, is in privatized housing, they're only going to plow where the major roads are. They're not doing the side roads. So anybody who ever's been in a cold weather climate, you always want to know where they're going to plow so you don't push the snow where they're not going to move it away. And the second one is, as far as moving your car, make sure it's out of and away from where they're going to plow so they can be as efficient as possible when they're plowing. And so, as you know, here we are in winter. We know that snow is still going to be coming this year. Slide, please. This one's near and dear to my heart. We just had a fire not too long ago. We had another one here in 2017 in January. And as you can see on the slide, there's some quick things to think about and to maybe share with your soldiers and airmen. I'll share you a very personal story. Just this last month, a son of a friend of mine lost his wife and 2 kids in a fire. And, you know, most of us, I think, know the fire is unpredictable. And we've been very fortunate here in the fires. We've had property damage, but not loss of life. So it's never too often to share those little things that we've learned about what to do, what not to do with our soldiers and airmen so they're not caught in a situation where there's loss of life. So those are the only 2 slides I have. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you. Chaplain, thank you.
Good morning, leaders, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mark Gauthier. I'm the garrison chaplain and the senior pastor for the Lewis, Maine Protestant Service. If you've made any spiritual resolutions this year, we're starting a series, Keys to Strengthening Your Soul. So feel free to join us. To direct your attention to the bullets back here, the 3 center programs are focused on fostering spiritual growth for the women in our community, both those that are in uniform and out of uniform. One program not listed as well is the Catholic Women of the Chapel that meets on Thursday mornings at Lewis North Chapel at 0930. And most importantly, an event coming up on the 2nd of February is the National Prayer Luncheon. It's not a Freudian slip, it's the National Prayer Luncheon over at the McCord Field Club. The speaker that we have is Chad Hennings, who is a 3-time Super Bowl champion for the Dallas Cowboys, defensive tackle, also an Air Force Academy graduate, and an A-10 pilot. So 2 February National Prayer Luncheon over at the McCord Field Chapel. More information to follow. One of my goals as the garrison chaplain is to bring forward what spiritual resiliency does. A lot of times our religious programs are very much like the restaurant music, pleasant in the background, but you barely pay attention to it. But think about what religious faith and the religious communities do to foster resiliency and readiness for your soldiers and families. Just for example, on an average week, we have over 2,000 service members and families attend worship services, 1,500 attend religious education, and for the month of November, over 444 folk contributed over 2,000 hours of volunteer service. What does that mean? You've got folks who have connected positive relationships, they've built in community that's healthy, they've generated hope, and they've strengthened the ethical and moral fiber of the soldiers and families. And as you look at the priorities of the CHPIC, that gets at all of those types of things. So as your soldiers are struggling, your service members, your airmen, families, encourage faith as one of the courses of action for them to get a good foundation and to generate good forward momentum in 2017. I appreciate your attention for this infomercial. Any questions or comments that I can answer for you? Well, thank you, and God bless you. Oh, one more real quick. There is a trifold on your tables that anything you wanted to know about religious services but were afraid to ask. Everything going on post is there for you.
Good morning. My name is Kelly Wetzel, and I'm here with MWR, and I'm here to wish you a happy, fun, and active 2017. We're going to talk about some of the things that we've got coming up in the next week. This Saturday, if you're not doing anything, you're tired of your workout routine, you maybe want to look at a few classes, or you've never even been into a fitness center before, this is your chance to go in and experience some new kind of fun at a fitness center. At Wilson, we'll be running our annual 2017 fitness resolution. It'll get you in, get you some samples of some new classes, something that you may not have wanted to partake in before. You'll take a few minutes at each class. There'll be workout. They'll have food and beverages that you can go and talk to some of our vendors, some of our sponsors, and maybe pick up a new workout routine on Saturday. Some other things coming up in February. If you want to catch the big game, it's the Super Bowl, but legally we're not supposed to advertise it as the Super Bowl. We can call it the big game. So if you want to watch the big game, not at your house, we've got a couple of venues. You can go to the Warrior Zone, or you can go to Sam Adams Brew House. They'll both be showing the big game there. And then Kids Night Out Valentine's is a family-friendly event that we'll be having at the club. The Bridal Fair, which is a new event for us. This is specifically for couples who have scheduled a bridal event at American Lake Conference Center, or they are considering scheduling an event there, so that they can go in, see the facility, talk to the chefs, look at menus, maybe do some sampling, things like that. So more details will be coming out for that. And then finally, the UFC 208 is coming up in February at Sam Adams in both the Warrior Zone. Some of the upcoming events coming up, I'm not going to go through all of them, but a couple of the really big things. First is the Wine and Canvas, really popular event that we run every month at McCord Club. And you go in, you have a glass of wine, some hors d'oeuvres, you paint a picture. The arts and crafts folks are the ones that are running that program. It's a very nice event. And if you want to do it, it's coming up on the 12th. It's the Thursday instead of a Friday this time. So it's a great time to go get a couple of friends together, have a glass of wine, and bring home a picture when you're done with that. And then finally, something everybody needs to know about. The Army MWR runs a digital photo contest every year. And we have winners from JBLM just about every year. Beautiful photographs. If you take great pictures, please enter your work in that contest. You can enter it through the end of this month. The folks at the Arts and the Crafts Center have all of the details, or you can go online and do it there. But it's a great program, and you get your artwork out there. And like I said, absolutely gorgeous artwork. Next slide, please. And then I'm not going through all of these. We're going to hit the highlights. Coming up in February, the Wine and Chocolate Tour. That's always very popular. Did you get a new camera for the holidays and don't really know what each button and what each setting does? Or you may have had one for years and you still don't know how to work your new digital camera. We have a lot of photography classes that are run through our outdoor rec programs. Great opportunity for, hey, take a few pictures and enter them in the photo contest that way. Lots of fun classes. Just because we live in the Pacific Northwest and the weather is, it's going to be like this for a couple more months. Not an excuse to stay inside and watch TV. Go outside, go snowshoeing, go whitewater rafting, or not sea kayaking. We won't go rafting until the spring. Go sea kayaking. Get out there and learn a new skill. If you like to ski and snowboard, make sure that you've got your gear rental all set up through Adventures Unlimited. There are a couple of things that we need to talk about that I couldn't get on the slide because we just found out about it yesterday. The Seahawks versus the Lions on Saturday at CenturyLink Field. We have playoff tickets. So if you would like to get tickets, you need to go to either of the Leisure Travel Services offices and put your name in the bucket. You have to have a DoD ID card to do that. You must be 18 to do that. So if you want tickets, putting your name in the bucket gives you the opportunity to purchase tickets. They're not free, but we have seats in the upper level and in the lower level, a lot less expensive than you're going to find them on StubHub at this point. But it's a great price, and if you're interested in going, this could be your chance to go and see the game. And then finally, if you haven't got your Focus magazine for the month of January yet, I brought a handful of them. They're in the back of the room with Don at the Armed Forces Community Service Outreach booth. So if you want to grab one on your way out, there are some available there. Does anybody have any questions? Yes?
Can you speak about the story time yoga? Is that for children? Is that?
It is. It's through the Children's Library. And so it is for the younger ones. It's just story time, so they do yoga moves, they read a story. It's the story time program at the libraries have just grown exponentially in the last few years. We have a color line story time, which is the children come in and do artwork. We have a yoga story time. We have all kinds of different story times. So if your kids are very particular about what they'll do and what they'll sit through, there is a story time for them, and they're usually once or twice a week and sometimes twice a day on that day of the week. Anybody else? Again, go out and have a fun and active 2017. Thanks.
Hey, good morning. I hope you had a great new year and happy holiday season. My name is Sergeant Major Mulryan. I just want to let you know that we do have an installation boss program. And as we were talking about resiliency for our married families, our dependents and all that, I wanted to make sure that we understand that we have an organization specifically designed, focused, and funded to work on the resiliency of your soldiers. So I just want to take a second to introduce your boss installation president, Specialist Paulson, and let him talk about some of the things that we're doing over at the Warrior Zone for your soldiers. Specialist Paulson.
Good morning. I'm Specialist Paulson. I wanted to talk about the life skills that we do. We have a bunch of life skill events that help build morale in single service members. We have a bunch of events that are free to the service members. Not only are being able to get the learning, how to do like yoga, how to do rock climbing and stuff like that, they actually get a free like harness or yoga mats or even a hammock at the end of it. So it's a great event and it's free to the service members. Any questions? Oh, the next event that's coming up is a Autocraft oil change event. They learn how to change the oil. It is a lot cheaper to do it yourself than it is to take it to a place that costs you $60. And they get a free 5-hour lift time at the Autocraft centers, which normally costs about like $6 to $8 per hour. Any questions? Yes. It is January 21st. You can also find that information at the Warrior Zone. We have a bunch of our calendars there and on the JBLM Boss Facebook page.
Question. Do you still do stuff for single parents?
Recently, we have not, but we are actually moving our way into doing that again.
It's based on input, soldier input.
Correct.
Quick. Hey, if there is a desire for soldiers who are single parents to get out and do something, then we need that feedback into the BOSS program so that we can design something and then make that happen for you. So we're doing it when there is demand. And right now we haven't received any of that feedback on, hey, we got 2 people. Okay, well, if it's 2 people, there's not really enough demand to warrant putting time, money, and resources to that. But when there's 20, when there's 30, well, now we have enough to actually fill a trip. So it's all based on feedback. Thanks. Yes, I'm ready.
I apologize to come late, but I will say, since I don't know if he said it here, is that I appreciate your support. I actually it took me a year to get to the first BOSS rep meeting, but I made it, and yesterday was it. And I appreciate you supporting sending reps to that, but that goes back to what he's saying, is that if you don't send a rep to the BOSS rep meeting, you don't get a voice on what the money's going to be. And the room wasn't full. You had more. Yeah, there's more people in here now than you had BOSS reps yesterday. So we can make the program better, but we need your support by getting. And I know a lot of folks, you meet with your BOSS reps when you do your DFAC council meetings, but sending them to the board here gets the installation, and the post gets money and resources. And they had an airman in there too, so that we say, hey, this is what the program needs to be, but we don't know. So they're kind of doing it in a vacuum. So if you want more of that, send your reps and then get a voice. And yes. When are those meetings? And they're first Tuesday of the month, and they're right here, 1300. So send them, and they want to do it. I had one soldier talk to me and say, Sergeant Major, I want to be more active, but we're not over here enough. So it is a great program. Thanks.
Okay, any final questions for BOSS? All right, up next, April from the Spouses Club. Oh, you're not April. Sorry.
Hi, my name is Sarah Mitchell. I am here for April McClung, our Lewis Community Spouses Club president today. The Lewis Community Spouses Club is a nonprofit all-rank spouses group here at JBLM. Membership is open to all active duty spouses, reserve, National Guard, and retired personnel of the armed forces. And we are also honored to extend that membership to our Gold Star spouses as well. We do have a variety of activities going on, both daytime and nighttime, in hopes to meet most people's schedule. We have book club, wine club. We also have our Pacific Northwest Explorers that were recently featured last week in the Weekly Living newspaper. And we are also very active in our community outreach programs. We assisted with Santa's Castle. We also serve with local food banks, Fisher House, and then I believe we have an upcoming event with Habitat for Humanity. So next slide, please. We do have our next luncheon. It is a week from tomorrow on January 12th at 10:30 at the American Lake Conference Center. The lunch is $17 a person. It is also a opportunity for anyone who has not joined, who would like to join, can come to that luncheon. And it is half-price membership beginning in January through the remainder of the year. RSVPs are due to the club Sunday the 8th. Next slide, please. We also wanted to highlight the Cottage Boutique. For those of you who don't know, the Cottage Boutique has moved. We are next to the Fort Lewis Thrift Shop on Pendleton. We are open Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 10 to 2. There is a variety of handmade gifts, crafts, and a lot of unit memorabilia in there. We were busy over the holidays, people purchasing Christmas gifts, but with PCS season, farewells, and the such coming up, there is also a lot of opportunity in there as well. Next slide, please. We also wanted to let everyone know that we had a name change. We used to have Wear It Again Boutique. We have changed to Operation Deploy Your Dress. This is an opportunity for active duty spouses, both male and female. They can get one formal outfit or dress per year to keep and use for a ball. For ladies, shoes and handbags are also available. We wanted to make sure that we extended and welcomed all FRGs and coffee groups. We do have an opportunity for you to set up an in-house event where you can try dresses on, outfits, pick your dresses, and all of that can be coordinated with Andrea through our website. And lastly, we also wanted to remind you we have a save the date out for A Night to Remember. It's our annual fundraiser event. This year it's going to be the centennial celebration of Camp Lewis. It is going to be on March 17th. Tickets are on sale now. We do have a 300 person cap. We do anticipate receiving that many RSVPs. So we're encouraging folks to purchase their tickets ahead of time. Those are available on our website. We're going to have a variety of auctions, a dessert auction, a silent and live auction. Live entertainment and dinner is included with the ticket purchase. Fort Lewis Army Museum will be there also. We wanted to let everyone know that those proceeds go to the Lewis Community Spouses Club Grants Fund, which supports scholarships. Last year we did Dogs on Deployment, Wounded Warriors, Boy Scouts, and a variety of local school sports teams and community groups. All of this information is available on our website, lewiscommunityspousesclub.org. Are there any questions? Lori. I'm sorry? The American Lake Conference Center at 10:30. You're welcome. Anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you. And one quick announcement was asked to Jennifer Johnson, who is in the room. Jennifer, if you could raise your hand. She is with the Fort Lewis Scholarship Fund, and she just wanted me to let everyone know that it is in progress. So if you have questions about the Fort Lewis Scholarship Fund, please see Jennifer after the meeting. Okay, we'll turn it over to Colonel Morgan.
Slide. Okay, so the next community update is on 1 February. And then some of the topics right there that we're kind of focused on for the month of February, looking a little deep, is right there. Again, those pieces of paper that are out there, please, if you want to hear about anything else from traffic and density and traffic accidents and safety and so forth, please put it on that piece of paper and we'll collect those up so Alicia and the team can kind of work through those. So other than that, I don't have much else. You can eat all the nuts you want, but if you cross the railroad track and get hit by a train, that mortality stuff doesn't work. That's the takeaway for today's meeting. So again, out of all seriousness, so feedback. We've all heard this before, particularly on the uniform side, but feedback is a gift. And we do 360 degrees assessments all the time. But I need that feedback from you so I can make this, a better, more balanced meeting, for you, and giving you the right information to help you. So these slides will be available, or are available for you as well. So we'll see you next month. But before that, just kind of go around the horn. Mike, I don't know if you have anything else. General James, sir. Okay, sir. Thanks. Welcome back and having all the commanders here. Sergeant Major, you got anything? Ma'am? Nothing? Sergeant Major.
Since I wasn't here at the beginning, I just wanted to say on behalf of General Lanza and the First Corps team and the whole Joint Base, Happy New Year. I know it seems all 3-4 days away, but this is the first time we got together as a group. Some people have been gone. And please don't hate me. We're going to play again football. So hopefully, if you're from Alabama, you want the same results. But welcome back to, hey, that's what you get around this time for me. So we just want to say we really appreciate all the work that you've done in 2016. It's been busy. It's going to be even a busier year. There's a lot of transitions going on throughout the year. It's going to be tough, but we're really happy to have everybody back. It's been a relatively quiet, safe holiday season, and let's continue on with that trend, actually throughout the Army. It's been pretty good this year, and Joint Base is pretty good with that. And I know General Lanza is extremely proud of what everybody's done over the holiday season, and as we get the gears going, we're going to be extremely busy in the next few months with a lot of transitions at all levels, and we're proud to be a part of this team, and just want to say thank you and Happy New Year.
Sergeant Major Rocco, you got anything? I'm sorry. Nope. And Leo Kaczynski, nothing? I want to highlight one last thing that the Sergeant Major just said, transitions. I sent it out in the email. Absolutely critical. There's some transitions that are going to take place here in the spring, but then I bet you I know myself and my peers, we're all in the process of having to transition ourselves in the summer. There is going to be a lot. So this meeting will help inform you as you kind of work through your sponsorship and all the other transition things that we have to do for the senior leadership on the base. So, okay, Happy New Year and thank you.